privacy laws, as we've just been discussing, are about to come into force in the EU. They're going to start a revolution in how companies handle personal data. Shelly Palmer is a technology expert and advisor to Facebook. He's in New York. Facebook, among others, Shelly. And you have long been talking about this. You put it in your newsletter. We've all been reading it. Let's take a step back for viewers who may not be up to speed. What do we need to understand about these new privacy rules?
Well, first of all, they're happening tomorrow. So if you're not really up on GDPR, today would be a good day to do some remediation. Just saying, this is sort of like if you're asking about it today, it's like asking your accountant about taxes on April 14th. Not the best idea. Look, what we need to understand is that this may or may not matter to consumers, but it really matters to business. And what I mean by that is I've asked everybody in every conference I've spoken at in the last 6 weeks, hey, have you noticed a lot more privacy notices in your inbox? And everybody has. What'd you do about it? And the answer is nothing. It's like, well, wait, these people are getting ready for GDPR, and they're going to give you all of this control over your privacy and the data that you own. It's like, yeah. So at the moment, consumers don't seem to care about this one way or the other. Businesses, however, are seriously caring about it because the fines for non-compliance with GDPR can be up to 20 billion euro, which or 4% of the previous year's gross revenue. So the fines are extraordinary. Things we don't know, Maggie, we don't know who the GDPR police are or what kind of strictness they're going to have. Are they going to be super strict? Are they going to be letter of the law? They're going to have some leeway. And also, to be fair, this regulation deals with everybody who does online business in the EU. And so there's some overlap outside the country because the internet's by default global. So this is such an overwhelming number of companies that are involved in such an overwhelming amount of data. It's hard for me to believe that it's going to be too onerous on businesses too quickly. I think you're going to have to make a pretty serious violation for them to and be of a certain size for them to know that you're there and that you're doing it.
One has to think there's going to be a little bit of a not a grace period, perhaps, but a warning period so people understand the rules of the road. You mentioned size, Shelly, so I've got to pick up on that point. We saw Zuckerberg in Europe, again, trying to answer questions, trying to address things. One thing that's starting to come up is not just privacy, not just data, but you're too big. You have no competitors. We want to break you up. Is that the right question to be asking to solve some of the issues?
Sure. In your intro, you said I'm advisor to Facebook. Facebook is a client of ours. I want to be very clear that I am not involved in this particular part of their business. But I will tell you the following, just for all full disclosure. But look, size does matter. And if I were honest, and we are honest, GDPR, as it stands, is a very protectionist piece of legislation. The EU is very far behind where Google is, where Facebook is, where a lot of the larger Amazon is. And they don't have any way to deal with any of this. And so these laws, I think, are actually very much, I should say it differently, these laws favor big companies, and they really quash innovation because Facebook already has all the data it needs. Google has the data it needs. And so, but if I'm starting up and I want to build a company that's going to be that size, now I have restrictions on how I can use data and gather data and leverage data. It really is onerous on the startups and the innovators.
I think Mark Zuckerberg himself pointed that out when he was testifying in front of Congress, that would be the concern. Shelly, we got a lot of news to squeeze in. Before I let you go, really quickly, are we going to see Google start to come under the same sort of harsh spotlight that Facebook is coming under?
I would be surprised if we didn't. Maggie, they have more data than just about anybody, but they also use it differently. So my short answer is yes, and the longer answer is yes.
Shelly, we appreciate it. We always squeeze a lot in, but we need your expertise on these matters. Thanks so much. Shelly Palmer.
Thank you, Maggie.